This is the time. This is the time for us to deliver Florida State football talk each and every week, Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Of course, it's Logan Robinson from NOLA Game Day and Jason Parker from NBC 6 joining me here at MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football. If you love the game that we love and you're the hardcore college football fan, smart fan, lock it in right here. Please subscribe, like, and share the videos. How you boys doing tonight?
Living the dream. How you doing, Mark?
I am not living the dream. And even if I was, I would not refer to it as that because it's a worn out and tired cliche.
Now, Mark, what show is this? Is it show 60 or 70?
I would probably give somebody a shout out, though, if I was living the dream.
Which show is this? Is this number 60 or 70? Because
the screen is telling me 60.
Right, okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
For viewers at home, Mark didn't know what show it was after he tried to call me out for my show streak last week, so... Well, you know, just want to give that out right there. And also,
Jason and I, for the record, off the record after the show last week, we made peace on this. We came to a settlement that Jason has a perfect record in all official, on time, as scheduled Florida State live shows.
And
yeah.
I'm going to give my shout out this week. Actually, goes to MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football.
We're a buck 26 into the show. We've got a shout out. Okay.
But it goes to you, Bubala. It goes to you. Because tomorrow, for those of us here in the state of Florida, it's the 10th anniversary of LeBron James' decision to leave that god-awful state of Ohio and come to the state of Florida. Mark, you as an Ohio native, as a Buckeye, how did it feel to watch LeBron come to his senses and come to the state of Florida? How did that feel for you?
People that know me and know me pretty well know that I'm very, for as big a sports fan as I am, and specifically football, then baseball, and to a lesser degree, basketball, know how detached I am, that I could care less. These guys are wearing laundry. It makes no difference to me. Come or go, do what you please. Anytime anyone's ever said, Manny Ramirez comes to mind. Great slugger for the Cleveland Indians, moved on to the Boston Red Sox. Indians fans were just livid about that situation. I said, the guy wants to go play somewhere else. Good riddance. Bye. I don't care. I could care less if LeBron James, I really don't care. It didn't matter to me. And he actually made a decision to come back. Right. He came back and won a championship. And I did get caught up in the championship run and watched all the championship finals throughout, going to 4 straight NBA finals. It was exciting. My son loves LeBron James, loves the Cavs, and so I get caught up in it and like to watch the games. But as soon as they're over, it makes no difference to me.
Now, Logan,
Jason, are you?
No, to you that sounded like somebody who cried, right? He cried back in 2010. Ohio tried to burn the jersey 4 years later. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe. So. I'm so surprised that you have not said one thing yet, even though the chat is completely ripping me apart right now.
We'll get to it.
But yes, you should be ripped apart. Viewers, I know we don't agree on a lot of things. Please continue to rip Logan's hat the entire time. We will talk about why he's wearing that god-awful hat over the course of the next hour, but please continue to rip him for his god-awful choice of hat gear. It's making my Scranton Wilkes-Barre Railhawks hat, AAA affiliate of the New York Yankees, look normal here.
I'm just showing my support and what happened to Texas A&M this last week and what's going on with Jimbo Fisher. And I'm just showing, sometimes you got to go behind their backs and do a few things recruiting wise and whatever you got to do and to get away with stuff, even if it's just a few months after leaving Florida State. I'm just showing my support and making sure people are still thinking about what just happened in Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher. So I'm helping you out, Jason, because I'm keeping the whole story alive. I haven't heard about Jimbo Fisher today or yesterday or during July 4th. It needs to be talked about some more.
I will say that it is bad when bad things happen to good people. But when bad things happen to bad people like Jimbo, I believe – hold on. In fact, I will give you our viewers insight here on the Twitter message board that we have here between myself, Logan, Mark, and James Coleman, who hopefully will be joining us later. The exact message I wrote was, ha, 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 ha. Ha. I believe that's exactly how I said it. So when bad things happen to bad people like Jimbo, it makes me laugh.
Yeah, you were very happy. That was the happiest I've seen you in all of my time that I've ever known you, Jason. There wasn't a lot of times to be happy when Willie Taggart was coaching here. I understand that, but this was the happiest you've been in a very long time.
I mean,
Jason, I've got a question for you. When you're labeling people as good people and bad people, I've got a question for you. Is there anything else that Jimbo Fisher has done besides bail on Florida State that you would point to say this is an indication that this is a bad person?
I don't think he's a bad person as far as I don't think he's Hitler, Stalin or any bad person in that regard. I don't think he is that bad. Yes, I am still bitter about the way that he left Florida State. I understand he got 75 million reasons to leave Florida State. I get it. He made a business decision that a lot of people would make. I've always said, and I've said this even when he was at Tallahassee, my beef with him is that he is, for those who've seen the movie Varsity Blues before, the head coach, played by John Voight, Bud Kilmer, who was, for lack of a better term, an SOB. He is the real life version of that. Like, I would not be surprised if in 2017 he didn't try to inject something in DeAndre Francois' leg to put it back together in the locker room after the Alabama game. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I think he is a person who puts football before a lot of things. He is an SEC coach, and I think he will have success in the SEC because he has that mentality, football over everything. Do I wish ill upon him or his family? No. Do I wish they go 5-7 this season? Absolutely.
I've got a comment to make then. I've got a question for Logan. So my comment is I was scanning a number of football games this week. They're played all over the place because of college football season coming up, not anything going on in the summer regularly. So there's a ton of replays on. Came across the Clemson-Texas A&M replay. Of course, Clemson won the game 24-10. And yes, I'm watching Kellen Mond not play the best game of his life, granted, but still, every time he goes to the sideline, I see Jimbo Fisher in his face. I'm like, can you ever communicate anything calmly, kind of instruct him and not make him feel like he's being berated? It just seemed like that all the time.
Logan,
I will say that.
Logan, do you want to answer that question?
I've got a question for Logan. What was Willie Taggart's finest moment at Florida State? What was his best win at Florida State?
You're gonna have to give me a few minutes, Mark. I need to really figure that one out because I don't.
Emotional or ones that counted?
Jason, of course, you can answer as well, but I just thought I would start with Logan.
Well, is it the most emotional win or the one that counted? Because those are two different categories.
I would try to
be two different things,
rival that you beat, but I haven't found one yet. Never beat Clemson, that's for sure.
Who's the best team that they beat in those 2 seasons?
Probably Louisville last season.
Man.
Oh, they beat Louisville last year?
They beat Louisville 2 years. I'd say
Louisville went 8-5 with a bowl win.
Right. Probably Louisville.
Best win.
Okay. Louisville last season was probably the best win as far as the best team he beat. The most emotional would be Louisville the year before because it was I believe it was like a minute and a half left, or was it a minute? Was it under a minute left when Naquan caught the touchdown?
The year before.
That was the most emotional one because that was after the big blowout loss to Syracuse. They beat Northern Illinois, and it kind of started a little winning streak, and you thought hope was going to be there.
And DeAndre Francois was still on the field the year before, right, for that win against Louisville.
Correct.
What was pathetic about that is that Louisville team went 0-8 in the conference, and they had to fumble like in the last 2 minutes of the game for Florida State to have a chance to win that game.
Do you want me to rip on Kent State here or Ohio State? Who do you want me to start it on?
Start
Ohio school.
Give it to Ohio State.
Do you want me to start
rip on these 13-1 seasons? Go at it.
I try to come in here with this niceness, and then you want to bring your A game. I got this guy over here with a Texas A&M hat. I got you over here trying to lie on my numbers here.
Hey, that was tough.
I love you both. God.
I was just trying to bring up the Jimbo Fisher story again because I knew that's what you want to talk about eventually. I knew it was going to come up either way, so that's why I wore the hat to kind of give you the topic, throw it at you a little bit. And the chat obviously was ripping me apart, so that's why I took it off. I wasn't listening, Jason.
All kidding aside, it's a 6-month penalty. It'll be done by the end of this coming season. It's the school's on probation, but they're not still going to go bowl game. They're still going to be on TV, all this other stuff. So it's more of we told you this guy is I don't want to use a certain word, so I'm going to say shady. we'll say shady. He has that used car salesman type demeanor in him, and I think it's going to lead to something else. I mean, I can't guarantee you, but who knows? In 5 years from now, Texas A&M could be on serious probation. By the way, can I just say something because you put up 2 comments so far, and I'm not saying you did this on purpose, Mark, but all the people who want to blame the media for college football, saying, the media is trying to cancel college football. No, we're not. No, we're really not. I'm not. Logan's not. Mark's not. You know what's going to cancel college football? The numbers going up. We've set records in the state of Florida. Okay, guys, wear a mask. It's not that hard. Does it suck? Yes. Is it uncomfortable? Yes. Does it mean we may have a better chance of not in college football? Yes. Wear a damn mask. If Mark wore it in Connecticut, you can wear it in Florida. That's my public service announcement.
And if I can wear a mask in public just to be a good soldier and do what's right, but who's totally not completely believing in the narrative. I believe that there is a virus. I believe that it's deadly. I believe that there are serious issues involved, but the numbers are seriously skewed and taken out of context. And somebody likes us.
The Redbeard just dropped that one.
Thank you, Redbeard. We will post your super chat comment as Jason contemplates what I just stated, and it was a somewhat vague and general comment, but we're not going to go into social issues here. We're going to stick to football. Right. I will let people know out there that they can look forward to a post that I'm delivering a bit off topic here, but still in the ACC. I will ask you to guess who was the topic of my ridicule recently. Now, this has nothing to do with anything the individual has done as a head coach recently, but it's based on his coaching performance. I'm going to stop short of saying he's incompetent. I'll say he is underperformed. I think this is going completely under the radar. This individual has a record of 21-35 in the ACC, and nobody says a word about him at a program that you would expect to do much better than that.
Wait, 21-35. So who's been around 7 seasons?
Yep.
Damn, who's been around this long?
21-35.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who's even been coaching in the ACC for 7 seasons.
Now, if you're not coaching at Duke or Syracuse with that record, you should be fired. That's
Narduzzi?
winning like less than 40% of your games.
Narduzzi?
No. See, it's so under the radar. You guys have 14 choices, and
Justin Fuente hasn't been there 7 seasons.
Nope. He's much better than 21-35 in the ACC.
Who the hell has been coaching 7 seasons? Oh, no. Dave Doran?
Bingo.
Yeah. NC State.
Dave Doran, he's at NC State. So what do you guys think of when you think NC State football? Don't you think a lot of 7-5, 8-4 kind of program, right?
I think that I'm nervous about that October 3rd game because Florida State always plays badly in Raleigh. They always underachieve in Raleigh. There's something about playing in Raleigh that as a Florida State fan, it goes back to that 1998 game. I think Logan was just born at that point when we were the number 2 team in the country. We go in and score the second play of the game and then lose 24-7. And ever since then, it's been a joke. So that's what I think of when I think of NC State. But I agree with you. I think NC State is that team that, and I've always ridiculed Phillip Rivers for this, both in college and the NFL. Phillip Rivers has always been that guy who talks a lot of smack, but has never been able to win anything. He didn't win the ACC when he was at NC State. He never made it to the Super Bowl when he was with the Chargers. He's damn sure not going to do it with the Colts this year. NC State has always been that team that has underachieved, and I think that goes back at least 15 seasons, maybe even 20 seasons. So, yeah, I can see that.
So Tom O'Brien was the previous coach. His last 3 seasons at NC State, he went 17-15 in the conference. So he goes 2 games above 500 in his last 3 seasons in conference, 24-15 overall. Dave Doran comes in and takes a team that's winning 8 games a year and goes 21-35 in the ACC. And how pathetic is this? He's 47-42 overall. He's 1-16 against ranked teams. 1-16. And you should see the litany of games. I've produced this video. It's coming out in the next couple of days. The litany, he's got 20. So since he's 47-42, 21-35 in the ACC, is 26 non-conference wins, and almost all of them are against the likes of East Carolina, Old Dominion, Marshall, et cetera, Georgia Southern, Georgia State. He's only beaten 4 Power 5 teams out of conference.
Well, you figure he's got to play Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, so odds are there's 3 losses right there this coming season. So.
So I jumped on Dave Doran this week, and that video is going to be released soon.
Damn, I thought you were going to.
It's titled "Why Does Dave Doran Have a Job?"
I thought you were going to bash Willie Taggart just because you're a hater, but damn. Okay.
We'll have to review Willie's career. I'll have to do that soon.
On behalf of the Willie Taggart fan club, I appreciate your you leaving
one last bashing on Willie, and then I'll be silent.
That's
all right. Florida State used to recruit and sign 5 stars like it was nobody's business.
No, that was Saturday. That was my July 4th meal because I'm only supporting Black-owned businesses. So I went to the Popeyes down the street, which is owned by an African American. The proprietor is an African American. So I had Popeyes for lunch. So that was Saturday. But thanks for playing Premier Youth Theater.
All right.
Premier Youth Theater, wherever the hell that is. Put your address in there and promote yourself. Just like Mark Rogers promotes himself, just like this guy promotes Texas A&M for some ungodly reason. He's going to do an Aggie hour later. Stick around for the post game where we talk Aggie football.
So let me get this straight, Jason. Yes, and I will not berate it in any possible way. I'm just clarifying. You are only supporting businesses owned by African Americans or Blacks. I keep hearing a difference here. Some people want to be called Blacks, others African Americans, and I want to do what is desired by them. But
I am trying to
getting mixed signals.
Not just African Americans in the Black community, but also I try to go to businesses that are owned by Hispanics, usually more minority groups, because I feel like it's time to spread some of the money around. And something that most communities, most ethnic groups, they tend to stay in their community. In the Jewish community, we tend to support businesses that are owned by other Jews, Italians, African Americans. So you try to help out. So I'm just trying to spread my wealth.
Well, I will state that I don't do that, but I certainly respect that you are knowledgeable about where you're putting your money, because most people aren't.
There's also not that many minorities in Connecticut, so let's be honest. It's not like you can support a lot of minority-owned businesses.
I also spend most of my money to national and international corporations and not local businesses. Perfect. Yeah, there you go. All right, back to football. We've got a couple 5 stars on campus. They are both offensive linemen. Ding, ding. That would be great to get those guys in the fold. Marius Mims and Tristan Ley. And before I look up the 247 composite, Logan, any thoughts on these two?
So this was first reported by Josh Newberg at 247 Sports. Tristan Ley is working to be on campus in Tallahassee. There's a lot of rules going on right now and what can happen with coaches and whatnot. But from what I've heard last week, when the NCAA and the whole recruiting stuff is going on, it seems like they can be on campus. They cannot be in the Moore. They can't be around coaches. They can FaceTime them. They can Zoom call them, whatever you want, but they can't be in person. That can always be cheated. And, definitely when you got 5 stars coming into Tallahassee like this, you got some of the best offensive linemen coming in. Obviously, Florida State fans know how hard it's been the last couple of years, not just a couple of years, the last 5 years or so, offensive line wise, has been god awful. So whenever you're bringing 5 stars in, and it's like you're having a wedding, you pretty much get everything ready, prepared for the beautiful bride to come in, and you try to keep them and put a ring on it. Because these kind of guys, it's probably, there's not a lot of chance for FSU with these 2 cats coming in, but you start getting some connection and you start networking with them, and you let young Coach Atkins get in front of these guys and try to present something that where they'd like to one day if they've got guys, friends, connections with other good prospects on the offensive line recruiting board, try to bring them in and say, hey, we need blocking for these quarterbacks that we're bringing in. You got young stud quarterbacks coming in. You're going to have to lay some of these guys with skill, and you got to have protection for them too. So Tristan Ley, and then 247 Sports also from Josh Newberg is reporting that Marius Mims is going to be on campus soon for a visit. So that's 2 5 stars, and like I said, it's not really in favor to land these two guys, but it's good to have these cats roll in and give FSU a chance and a look at. I believe LEIGH is coming. He was on vacation down south in Florida, so he's visiting a lot of the Florida schools coming up. And actually, Florida State would be the last Florida college to visit before being done here in the state of Florida. So Florida State gets the last little talk and kind of presentation to him. So just a little something.
Logan, quick follow-up while Mark finishes his dinner over here. So we got Tristan Ley, who's from Fairfax, Virginia, just outside D.C. He's a lot of the insiders think he's going to go towards either Clemson or Penn State. Marius Mims from the state of Georgia. Everyone thinks the Bulldogs are going to get them. Realistically, and we would love to have them in Tallahassee, realistically, does Florida State have any chance to get either one of them to come in and commit to Florida State? In your opinion, realistically?
Right now, no way. No way, Jose. Like I said, I think the Lee one, he's literally visiting. I think he's already visited or dropped by Miami and then Gainesville along. Now he's coming to Florida State. I think he also was visiting UCF, so he's just kind of just looking everywhere. But I think it's good to have Coach Atkins, who, from what we've heard and we've covered him, he's got really good connections with young players and guys that have a lot of talent. Atkins, I think, just needs to land one of these cats, and I think he'll get the ball rolling for FSU recruiting-wise. And, when you land offensive linemen too, quarterbacks start getting a little bit more interested in you too. And even, then that works into the outside where you have wide receiver cats that, where Alabama always seems to recruit best in, and Clemson wide receiver-wise. So once you land offensive lineman, it plays a huge role, not only for that, but for Florida State too. That has been a crucial thing that Florida State has had to improve on. Of course, I still want to see how development is used this upcoming season under Coach Atkins. If development is going well, then that helps chances even more for recruiting big cats like these. But winning games, Coach Atkins showing what he can really do, because he came from a smaller school. But there's word around the country and from coaches and assistant coaches that they really respect Coach Atkins. Mike Norvell hired him for a big time reason, along with Chris Marv, who's also a young coach, but he came from a bigger Power 5 school at Mississippi State, so he has his name out there. But Coach Atkins, I just need to see some of these guys be developed a little bit more. I got to see Dante Lucas have a big year as expected. And you're going to start seeing a little bit more interest of these big time 5 stars want to actually come take official visits, want to come to big games when you're facing Clemson or Miami or Florida and give FSU an actual chance. It seems like some of these cats come visit and it's just for playing games and give me some gloves and give me a backpack or whatever it is. Let me do a photo shoot. But in order to have these guys take you seriously, Coach Atkins has got to develop these guys and see some production from them, and you got to win games. And, sadly, you're probably going to have to win some games that you're on the national stage for when you're out there playing at 3:30 or 8 p.m. And not getting slashed all apart. That's where these 5 stars really start keeping an eye on you. So
I just also want to point out you're getting called out by a person with the name Fuzzy Bunny.
Fuzzy Bunny broke up with you, Logan.
Okay, I need to check. I haven't had a text though on here, so I don't think anybody's broken up with me. I don't know. I didn't know I was in a relationship.
But
I have never noticed this individual in the chat before. Fuzzy Bunny 5150.
You're hated by bunnies. Congratulations.
Okay.
Congratulations. Okay. You have pissed off the rabbit world. Congratulations.
Well, it's difficult to have bunnies mad at you. They're very fuzzy, warm creatures too. So it takes some doing. Plenty of ire was thrown at Logan about the Texas A&M hat. So I'm just finally getting to some of the comments in the live chat. I want to run down the 247 metrics on the 2 5-star linemen. Then I've got what I am going to be fascinated to hear from both of you about your recruiting approach. So let's get to it real quick here, because you guys know I love the metrics on these guys. Marius Mims from Breckley County in Georgia, Cochran, Georgia, 2021 class, of course, #1 player in the state, regardless of position. This kid is the #1 player in the state according to the composite. Second-rated offensive tackle in the country, the sixth-rated player in the nation, regardless of position. That is high-end stuff. Then we got Tristan Ley, who's the third-rated offensive tackle, so right behind Mr. Mims, and second-rated player in Virginia, and he's the 11th rated player in the country, regardless of position. So again, folks, remember there's like 10 or 11 positions as they separate safeties and corners. They separate dual threat quarterbacks and pocket passers. They separate all the line positions along the offensive line. So we're talking like 12, 13 positions. So if you're in the top 10, regardless of position, we are talking, rarefied air if they could land one of those guys.
And you can watch Tristan Ley next season for Penn State.
Question for both of you. Since you hold Florida State near and dear, but you know that there is much to sell in regards to history, brand, tradition, prestige. It's not – the record has looked like NC State or Louisville or Boston College the last few years, but certainly you have much more going for you than that. How would you sell these recruits? Because you can't sell them – winning recently over the last 3 years. How would you sell these two recruits in particular, or any of this ilk on Florida State?
The problem is that it's not like, and James Coleman and I have talked about this previously, and Logan's talked about this as well. Recruiting in the 2020 season is much different than it was even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when you had a lot of guys who grew up as Florida State fans. You had a lot of guys who grew up wanting to play for Florida State or wanting to play for Florida or wanting to play Miami. They knew about the tradition. They knew about being the next person to help continue that tradition in the program. Now, in a lot of cases, it's just about where can I go, get my 3 years in, because you have to do your 3 years, and then go to the NFL. Prime example, Tonio Brown. Tonio Brown grew up down here in Miami, wanted to go to Florida State, ended up at whichever, I keep forgetting whether it's Western Michigan or Central Michigan, some directional Michigan school, because he knew, I'm going to get on TV, these Wednesday night, Tuesday night games come November, I'm going to get all this TV exposure, and I'm going to go make it to the NFL, and I'm going to go dominate for Logan Steelers. And now God knows where he's going to play from this point on if he ever plays in the NFL again. But the point is simple. You have to recruit differently now. If you're asking how I would recruit if I was the recruiting coordinator of FSU, I would recruit using the past to build onto the future. And we rag on Miami a lot about how they live in the past, talking about the 2001 championship. We rag on Notre Dame, how they haven't done anything since the 80s, and they have one national title game appearance in 2012. That's been the only thing they've done in the last 30 seasons. That's how I would build on it, saying, hey, this is Florida State's tradition. We have the 14 straight seasons of the dynasty. We have 3 national titles. We have all these guys in the NFL. Help bring that back. You can be the guys that can get us back. You can be the guys that get us back to 10-win seasons, that get us back to beating Clemson, that get us back to sweeping Miami and Florida in the same season. That's the only way you can do it right now, because the problem is you have a lot of these guys who come in here just expecting, I'm going to come put the spear on the side of my helmet, and I'm going to be fine. It doesn't cut it like that anymore. We are at a time where Florida State is, like you said, you hit the nail on the head. We're a hell of a lot closer to Louisville and NC State than we are to Clemson right now. We are years away from being back to competing with Clemson on a yearly basis. That's just the truth. So it's all about building at this point. So it's about using the past to build for the future.
I'll put in here real quick too. If I'm having these cats come, let's look back at this last NFL draft. Mike Norvell and his staff, not just saying just his only staff at Memphis. We're talking Coach Atkins at Charlotte, Thomason at TCU. Second, let's see here. Looking at this, second round offensive lineman Lucas Ninag was drafted. In the fourth round, UNC Charlotte offensive lineman Cameron Clark was drafted. In the seventh round, Memphis offensive lineman Dustin Woodard was drafted. So 3 offensive linemen from Mike Norvell's staff, the coaches, put these guys into the league. The one that impresses me the most is definitely Coach Atkins, Cameron Clark's There's just so much. There's a lot of potential there. Not only you have Coach Atkins right now to be your main offensive line coach, but Thomason too has a lot of experience there, and they've sent guys over there into the NFL. So I think it plays a big that kind of stuff they can promote and present to these guys that are coming in and might not do it, but that kind of stuff right there shows you, hey, if you want some money too, I got a good staff to help coach you, develop you, and put you into where you're going to have a really good potential in making some money after 2 or 3 years when you ever go into the NFL. So that right there, if I'm just kind of putting it in that place, I think Florida State under Mike Norvell put a pretty good staff together. Offensive line wise, there's some guys, good amount that were sent. So reminder, Florida State only sent one guy this last draft. Mike Norvell and staff and company sent 8.
But notice what Logan just said. Logan just said he would coach them to, this is how to get you to the NFL. And that's fine. That's an approach that works because that's what you have to do right now. And it sucks. It sucks that that's where we're at right now. But I'll say it like this. Taking off my Florida State allegiance for a second, and I'll ask Logan first. Take off your Florida State hat for a second and your Texas A&M hat. You have no loyalty towards any school right now, but your son, let's say you have a son who is a 5-star, top 10 recruit, regardless of position, top 10 recruit in the entire country. Right now, would you send him? He's part of the 2021 signing class. You have no ties to Florida State or any other school. Would you encourage your son to attend Florida State University?
Is Mike Norvell my coach?
Same situation, but you have no tie, and I know it's easy to say this because I'm saying this right now for me.
Well, if it was Clemson or Bama or all these Bearcats, of course, there's the first one I'm gonna look at. Definitely Georgia too. Yes, that's where if I'm thinking offensive line wise, yeah, I'd go somewhere there. Obviously, spots, or you can think about spots and if you're gonna go or not. If you want immediate time though on national television and get all the playing time you want from day one, the second you step on campus after you sign your letter of intent, be told that you're a starter, then you go to FSU. But that shows in the past on where these guys are getting drafted from, and it's SEC guys coming from Oklahoma too, big time offensive linemen. You got to go there too. But I'm just saying off of just to impress FSU fans, because FSU fans are listening. Cam Akers was the only one drafted last year. Mike Norvell and his new staff, not all of them were, of course, all at Memphis at the same time, sent 8. So I think it's something optimistic to look at least. And it's a good sign to see that TCU sent 2 offensive linemen under Chris Thomason and Coach Atkins at Charlotte. I don't think anybody really knows, maybe a few of you that really keep up with college football and know, that Charlotte 49ers, nobody has watched a game of them. That cat went in the 3rd round offensive lineman. Florida State and a good offensive line coach. 2 of them, two good offensive line coaches.
I did watch Charlotte twice this year.
See, you're a college football lunatic.
It was work-related purposes because they played FAU and they played FIU, and so I had to watch.
That doesn't count.
No, but I do agree with you to an extent there. It is a very good thing that Florida State at 6-7 and 5-7 the last 2 seasons and 7-6 the year before is still able to get 5-stars to come in and visit, whether it's even just on a Tristan Ley, I happen to be in town, or a Marius Mims, who I think Florida State may have a shot in the dark because he's from Georgia. He knows about the history of Florida State and the tradition of Florida State probably more than Tristan Ley does. I'm just being that realistic approach of right now, we can't compete with the Ohio States, the Clemsons, the Penn States, the Alabamas, the LSUs, Oklahomas, these schools right now. I would not, if I had no ties to Florida State, would not encourage my kid to go to Florida State now. Now, if you're asking the question in 2022, 2023, maybe that story changes. But for right now, I need to see the product because I am worried with Mike Norvell that we are hyping him up a lot of the same ways we hyped up Willie Taggart. In that, hey, it's the new coach. It's going to bring in all this thunder, guns blazing, all this glory. and then we end up 7-5. Then we end up 6-6.
Before you guys continue here, just want to jump in the live chat as we make our way through. I want to give a lot of recognition to a number of people making some very supportive and encouraging comments for myself, Jason, and Logan. Austin Canes, good to see you. A lot of support out there, a lot of love from Mike Myrick. William Heinrich letting us know that he will be attending Kent State Medical School. Congratulations, William. Bill, with maybe the comment of the night. I won my social disability case, therefore I'm going to be able to watch more Mark Rogers. That coming from Phil. Mr. G14 Classified. Mr. G14 Classified, always encouraging everybody to like the videos and to support and subscribe. Mr. G14 Classified, thank you so much for all the supportive comments you gave us. Don Bay as well. And also Pinero 5 Piro, huge, enormous diehard Michigan fan who joins us for all the live streams and just is here to say hello and support us as well.
He won his social disability case?
That's what it stated on the live chat. I took it down verbatim here.
Mazel tov, I guess. Congratulations. I don't want you to be disabled, but whatever.
I was focusing more on the second portion of the statement.
Yeah, there we go.
He's going to be watching the channel more.
Redbeard has the old school logo mixed with Burt Reynolds. God rest his soul. Thank you for the $25 donation.
Yes.
All because of my hat. I have to say it.
So you're going to buy a new hat.
So this means I need to funnel that $25 down to Logan? Is that what this means?
I guess that's how it works. I guess that's how this is how we're going to do the funneling for my money now for on here every night.
Wiggins hat will send up to you if you want.
Redbeard, thank you so much for the contribution. Everybody else who has contributed to the super chat, I will get your comments posted to the screen. Thank you so much. I cannot express my gratitude enough for any kind of contribution, whether that's liking the video or otherwise, but especially those super chat contributions. We've got a vision here, Jason. Did you know that? A vision here at the Voice of College Football. We're building a vision.
Because when you said gratitude and when you said, gratitude and enjoying stuff, there's something I enjoy at around the 35-minute mark of every single one of these. That is when somebody, what's his name? Because we had two people do great ones last week. But sometimes I'm old school. I'm all about, old school NWA, Eazy-E. The old school rap. I'm all about the old school rock. So I'm going to go old school with the OG of the like button, Mr. Logan Robinson. You didn't help with that, buddy.
Thank you so much. I'm going to do kind of a mix of this real quick because I want to make the FSU fans even more happy. We have 80 on the line right now. Since we have 80 people on here, and sadly, we probably got like 20 Miami fans. I guess we have Buckeyes in here and whatnot, but I know we have a good amount of FSU fans. I think FSU fans should also be happy about their new offensive line coach, Coach Atkins. Noted here, he turned a two-star offensive lineman into a fourth-round starting offensive line NFL draft pick from this last draft. So that's great. FSU fans are starting to get, they're a little excited right now. With your excitement, I say we use your hands, use whatever to hit that like button. Hit your like button and also hit the subscribe button. We hit 20,000 subscribers while live on the show. We hit over 20,000 subscribers, but make sure you hit the like button so then this will be shared over to new FSU fans that may not watch our shows every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. You can also go back and watch these after we're done. And you can view them. We usually get quite a bit of views, but yeah, even if you go watch it later, hit the like button so then it'll be shared to more FSU fans. Once football season hits, the show's going to be blowing up. You're going to wish that your friends and family were on here every Tuesday night because we recap the games, we preview the next game. Me and Jason argue about silly things that we shouldn't even be arguing about. Mark then argues with Jason. It's a great time. People miss out on it. So, yeah, I think you guys should definitely hit that like button.
Yeah,
Jason, don't you see?
That was a sales pitch right there.
It was beautiful, wasn't it? I was just going to say, Jason, don't you see how Logan has grown and developed as a pitch man?
He has matured. I'm very proud of him. It's like a proud father. But also, since Logan showed his true colors in who he's really a Texas A&M fan, thank you, BGPO Football Funk, for your donation. We appreciate that there. But since Logan showed his loyalty, I'm going to show loyalty to something else here. Shout out early to the Inter Miami FC. It's the new, or CF, excuse me. It's the new team in the MLS. They continue Their season starts again tomorrow because hopefully they can field 11 people who haven't tested positive, who they play Orlando City. And here's the quiz. Logan, what is the name of their battle? I did not know this until today when ESPN showed it on the bottom line. What is the battle between Orlando City and Inter Miami called?
The Battle of the Bastards.
I mean, I like that. It's more appropriate, but apparently it's called the Everglades Cup.
I like Logan's name better.
Neither stadium is near the Everglades, but you know what? What the hell? Let's call it the Everglades Cup. It should be called something different, but whatever. So tomorrow, 8 o'clock, ESPN.
Jason, you consistently break new ground on this channel. And what I'm thinking right now is that I have posted in excess of 10,000 videos. And do you know how many times I've mentioned the MLS? That would be 0.
Did you even know the MLS existed before this moment? Did you know it still existed?
Exactly.
The game is on your network, Mark.
I don't care.
It's on your network.
Hate the product.
They are the Fighting Flamingos. I was told it's ibises, but I refuse to root for anything but ibis.
The only statement that has ever left my mouth on this channel concerning soccer is soccer sucks. That's all I've ever said.
And I see a few in here.
Several times.
Joseph Hardaway Jr. says, "Who gives a crap about soccer? LOL."
And you know what? I will say that doesn't mean I don't have respect for soccer players as athletes. They are in tremendous condition. The sport itself sucks. It's boring.
I played soccer in high school for one reason and one reason only. We had the same schedule as our girls' team, so we'd ride the bus with the girls' team, and our girls were hot. So I'm not going to lie. That's exactly
what in the world. We're heading in the wrong direction.
I'm just letting you know.
You persevered like conditioning and all that crap that you have to go through to play soccer to hit on some girls that you could there are other ways to do that.
First of all, I was a keeper, number one. So I would literally be in the goal. It was literally like 18 feet. So there's not a lot of running there. That's number one. Number two, I was a 16-year-old boy. What the hell do you expect me to think with? I'm not going to think with this head. So come on now. I was thinking differently. I was thinking, you were immature as a 16-year-old boy. Don't judge me. Don't judge my life. You don't know my struggles.
Okay. I think I had a little bit more advanced strategy on.
Oh, here we go.
Going after the.
Here we go. Here we go. How Mark Rogers.
Wait, X Factors. We forgot X Factors.
X Factors.
Right? Or not. And Jason has to go first because he always makes me go first on things that I didn't even plan on talking about. But I'm ready though. But you got to go first, Jason.
Stay tuned for the after show portion here, where Mark tells us how he used to get women in high school back in the early '80s in Ohio. So stay tuned for that after this. Mark,
early '80s. Let's move it a little bit.
Exactly.
More recently than that.
I'm going to give you two X Factors. I'm going to give you my X Factor as a player and an X Factor of a moment in the season. To me, the X Factor as far as moment of the season is going to be the Boise State game, because I think Florida State will beat West Virginia in the opener. I think they will beat Samford. Boise State to me is going to be, I think it's not the most important game, but it could be the most important moment. If Florida State can schlep all the way out to Idaho, play their first ever game in the state of Idaho, and somehow win this game. Okay, cool, Clemson kid. Glad you spelled everything right there. Anyway, thanks for throwing me off there, Mark. Jeez. No, but Boise State is the most important game as far as it could turn the season. Because if Florida State can go out there and win that game, they're 3-0. You have the bye week before an NC State team that we've talked about Florida State should beat. And all of a sudden, you may be undefeated heading into the Clemson game. I'm not saying we're going to be Clemson, but you could be undefeated at that point. Now, Florida State, let's say they go out there and lose to Boise State, then you have the question of, is Florida State going to Florida State? Is Florida State going to then, not be able to bounce back? They're going to be like, oh, ho-hum, here we go again, and then lose to an NC State. Then you're going into the Clemson game 2-2, possibly being 2-3 after that game. So Boise State, that game could be the most important moment. Thank you. Willie Taggarts should have gotten 3 years.
Or Willie Target. I don't know if this is a Walmart Target argument or...
Spelling is optional here with MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football. If the other gentleman's trying to insult me and spells things wrong...
Should have gotten 3... Jason, I will give you the final 3 games of the season to close out 2 horrible seasons at Florida State, but why the 3rd year? Why should he have gotten 3 years?
You know, I personally, because I don't think that 21 games, much less 2 seasons, is enough to show what you can do. And I think you did see, I think they do beat Boston College, beat Alabama State, and do become bowl eligible, even if Willie Taggart coaches. I think the third season shows. I think 3 seasons is the perfect time because you get your first class in there. They've been there 3 seasons. You can see what they can do at that point. Now, can I get to my most important player?
I just want to make the statement that I give the 3 years to a coach trying to turn around a program that has no talent. Les Miles at Kansas, for example. But when you're taking over a program with top 12 to 15 talent in the country, and you can't even line up correctly after 21 games, see ya.
All right, there was a talent that was 6-6 the year before.
Deuces.
Before it was the 6-6.
Yeah, that competed with Clemson and beat some good teams and had to play Alabama the first game of the season. That's almost like an automatic loss for everybody.
As I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by MarkRogersTV, the voice of
They
college.
competed better against Alabama than Willie Taggart's teams competed against the likes of Boston College and
Folks,
Louisville and other teams.
Viewers, I apologize for
Virginia Tech 24-3, 3 points against a bad defense. All right, go ahead.
I apologize for Mark's rudeness and his constant interrupting. I know it's rude and disrespectful. You viewers deserve better, but we love Mark. We will talk to him after the show. Don't worry, it's fine.
No, what they're thinking is that you're owed a few of these interruptions. I'm still way behind on the interruption scale.
Are you done? Are you done?
I don't know. I can't guarantee it.
Are you done? Can I at least get 30
No,
seconds?
I'm not. I don't know if I'm done.
Can I get 30 seconds?
Of course, you got 30 seconds.
Right. Most important player is Kalen LeBour at running back because you know what you're going to get with Tamarian Cherry. You know that he is going to be arguably one of the top wide receivers in the ACC if he plays up to expectations, maybe the entire country. You do know what you're going to get out of James Blackman at quarterback, and I do believe he starts, and I believe that he will – I think he will be better than he was last season. I think that there's really no other option at this point unless Jordan Travis can come out guns blazing when they finally get out to practice. That running back position, you cannot rely on Blackman to Terry, and hope for a turnaround. You need a running back, and this is Kalen LeBour's time to shine. He came in with Cam Akers. Cam Akers obviously showed why he was a second-round draft pick in the NFL. It's time for LeBour to shine. Oh, my God, the guy with the white shirt is sexy. He is sexy. He's boy band cute. We got it.
Mark puts these weird things up on here at least twice now. It's getting weirder now every week. I don't even change anything. It's just the same thing over and over again.
You're cute. You're cute. You're
Stop.
He's
right,
a fine-looking young man.
He is boy band.
There we go.
You're the boy band out there. You're the
Great.
JT of our group.
Now you're making me blush, Jason. I didn't think this would happen on a voice of sports.
Who is your top player and most important moment? Or most?
Well, I think I'm going to change my, since you got a moment thing, I'm going to go my moment. I'm going to switch that to an assistant coach. Can I pick an assistant coach that'll be an X factor?
Okay.
And this one's going to be shocking because we were just gratifying him and talking about him and everything. But it's not going to be him. It's not going to be Coach Atkins. It's going to be Coach Storms. Which, if nobody knows who Coach Storms is, he is the strength and conditioning coach at FSU. He was with Mike Norvell at Memphis. Obviously, he has a good reputation under Mike Norvell when he was at Memphis. And from right now, and from what we've seen developed-wise for some of these guys, lifting-wise, but most certainly getting more in shape. Some guys losing fat that was much needed. Some guys gaining a lot of weight. And like when we say a lot of weight, Stephen Dix Jr., true freshman linebacker, who a lot of FSU fans are excited about, gained 25 pounds in 4 months. I think he's now at 225, 230. No, he's at 230, 235, somewhere around there. Him and a lot of other guys. Keyshawn Helton has put on a lot of weight, at least 15 to 20 pounds. He comes back after a really bad injury with his leg. But I think it mainly is going to go and help this offensive line and grow and be stronger. Some of the cats that I would see running out there didn't know how to run more than 5 yards without having to fall down and just whimper. And I don't want to even say anything more, but it was really sad to see definitely on national television. And, first game too, at home in Tallahassee against Boise State. That was such a disgrace and sad to see when Boise State didn't have one player go down, and then you got 5 to 6 guys from FSU barely be able to run down run down the field after losing a third and 15, thanks to Barnett. But yeah, I think I think Florida State fans are going to see some guys that are way stronger and more in shape, and I think that's going to be a huge thing for FSU this upcoming season. And then going and looking at your quarterback too, James Blackman, he's put on quite a bit of weight too. He's well over 205 pounds now. He came in at friggin' 167 pounds. The X factor is probably for me. I think it's got to go offensive. I think defense is going to be fine, and you got to pick a player. It'd be James Blackman. I think he is going to be the starter in Atlanta. I don't think much things are going to change unless he really starts. It's really his team to lose. He has the most experience. He has the most experience with the wide receivers. He has really good experience deep ball wise with Keyshawn Helton, who we're expecting to play quite a bit this upcoming season. He's going to be that guy that's going to be your main number 2 behind Tamarion Terry. And if they can have a little bit of blocking and he's able to kind of not worry too much about his mentals and kind of get his stuff straight in that department, I think things are going to go pretty smooth for that offense. He doesn't have to do too much under Mike Norvell. He's got a freaking loaded backfield with a lot of these new cats coming in, but you still bring in Kane LeBourne along with Corbin and Webb. And there's so many more weapons at his disposal too. Along with who am I missing? Corey Wren too. I think is going to be used a little bit here and there. But this is really James Blackman's job to lose. I know there's been a lot. It goes in waves. 2 weeks ago, everybody was talking about Trevor Purdy. That has died down, and now it's the James Blackman talk, and it's going to run for about 2 weeks. But that's just the offseason. That's how it goes anyways. But I don't see Mike Norvell starting someone over James Blackman. I do think Trevor Purdy is going to have a good competition with him, but I think James Blackman's going to have a pretty. He's going to kind of surprise some guys.
That was a great analysis that didn't get interrupted one time.
I have that kind of respect for Logan.
I know.
I was mesmerized listening to his analysis.
Well, he's boy band cute. I get it. I'm like the Joey. I get it. It's fine.
I will be a little bit more general with my analysis and what I want to see out of Florida State football. But considering what I've seen the last couple years, okay, they play a West Virginia team that they outclass athletically and in terms of talent. But I'm not saying that that's a win for sure, but I think Florida State is a solid 10-point favorite in that game, most likely. I've not seen the line. I'm guessing that on a neutral field that they're a solid 10-point favorite in that game against West Virginia, a team that had a prolific offense 2 years ago with Will Greer and all those receivers, but they were a 5-7 mess last year against a pretty bad schedule. So they need to win that game. And then they've got some play against Boise State on the road. But I agree with you, Jason, to see them go to Boise State against a quality team that's always prepared, always fundamentally sound, just always plays above their grade level talent-wise. And Logan, to your point, when the whole talk in the offseason was, is Boise State going to be able to go to Florida in the 90-some degree heat and play and withstand and play well in the fourth quarter? It was the exact opposite, grabbing a 31-12 lead, 26. It was a 2 or 3 score lead.
Hold on. Let me make some excuses real quick for our Seminoles here, real quick.
Okay.
Last year was an absolute cluster in the fact that game, let's remember, that game was supposed to be a night game in Jacksonville, which, don't get me wrong, it gets hot in Jacksonville, but it's supposed to be a night game in Jacksonville. It got moved 2 days before to a 12 o'clock game in Tallahassee. There was a lot of movement. I'm not excusing it all that Florida State blew a huge lead, but there were a lot of things that happened that made that a different situation where Florida State, I don't think, was mentally prepared for that. And you can go after Willie Taggart, you can go after Harlan Barnett. There were a lot of faults in that game. And this is the problem we're at right now. And we talked about it earlier about, will we have a college football season? The fact that we are right now as we're taping this on July 7th, and we still don't know right now. We have a schedule, we have everything going, but we don't know for 100% sure if we are going to have the college football season be played out as it is scheduled right now. This is where it's setting up for another problem of this team didn't have spring football. This team, these guys who came in early, who graduated high school early to come and play, had what, Logan, 2 practices or 3? How many practices did they get in the spring?
The spring 3.
They got 3 practices. Okay, so they got in 3 practices in the spring. That's what we're dealing with right now. So this is the situation. That's why I said earlier, you asked us a couple of weeks ago, what was the most important game? The West Virginia game is the most important game. Florida State hasn't won an opener since 2016 when they beat Ole Miss up in Orlando. They need this win more than anything, because if they win that game, you go home for the home opener against Samford the following week. You win that one. You go to Boise State 2-0. Even if you lose to Boise State, you probably beat NC State. You're 3-1 going into Clemson. You're still breathing. If you lose to West Virginia, it's that, oh crap, here we go again. Oh God, here we go again. Now we got to play a Samford team who back in the 2018 season was beating us in the fourth quarter in the second game of the season after we lost the first game to Virginia Tech. Then we got to go to Boise State. Then you have a decent chance of being a 1-3 team going to the Clemson game, and disaster starts from there. So that's why the West Virginia game, just you are 100%, is the most important game of that schedule, because it can either make or break Mike Norvell right off the bat. And I'm sorry, T.A. Burdine, Miami Hurricanes are the best team in the country. Stop it. I get it. You think you're going to beat Florida State. I get it. You love the Canes. In your eyes, it's all about the you. You're not the best team in the country. You're not even the best team in Miami-Dade County.
So just to finish my point is I'm just overall looking for a team that's going to fight and scratch and claw and be tough, but also be disciplined. I think we need to have some leeway for these guys, not just on Florida State, but across the country, because the offseason has been extremely difficult, no time to prepare, and especially for a first-year head coach. So I'm going to be very lenient in regards to mistakes and that sort of thing to a certain degree for quite a few weeks into this football season, and to a certain extent for the entirety of the season. Who knows what this thing's going to look like? There could be some teams playing 12 games, other teams playing 9 games, missing a couple weeks and then having to come back after some kids are having to be quarantined. It's just going to be a season in which I will have a little bit more leniency, especially for a first-year head coach.
On paper, should Florida State be worse than 3-1? Let me ask you that question, Logan. On paper, going into the Clemson game, and we'll use Clemson as the barometer because that's kind of the midpoint in the season. Florida State plays 4 games before that. What should Florida State's record be on paper? What do you think Florida State's record will be if they are different?
To start off the 4 games or 3?
To start the first 4 games: West Virginia, Samford, Boise State, NC State. The 4 games before Clemson.
If Florida State goes 3-1 to start off the season, that's fantastic to me. I mean, I think obviously the 2 games that pop out are West Virginia and Boise State. Both right now are not going to be at home. The West Virginia game is supposed to be in Atlanta for the season opener and a dome, and then the next one's going to be out at Boise State. So if you're coming into that 3-1, then that's fantastic for FA. That's huge, and it gives you some momentum. And I think a lot of the players by then are buying in, and it's good stuff. But that's still we still don't know. I mean, I'm still trying to stay optimistic about it, but I think we'll know after a little bit these next 2 weeks what's going to happen, because the I don't know if we even talked about it, but the Ivy League they're voting this week, I believe, on if they're going to move their season into the spring, which would start in March, I believe, and end in 7 weeks. And I think that's going to play a domino effect, of course. So I'm just rambling on, but yeah, 3-1 is kind of expected to me. FSU's talent-wise shouldn't even be a conversation against West Virginia. It shouldn't even just be. It's sad that it's come to this now, but it shouldn't be. It just shouldn't be that way. But sadly, Jimbo did a bad job in his last year, and Willie Taggarts should have never been in Tallahassee. Should have never been. But I think FSU fans are really going to find out when Mike Norvell is on campus. But that's all I'm going to say.
I guarantee that if we look at West Virginia's recruiting classes currently on the roster, they're going to be in the 50s. So we got top 15 talent going up against top 45 or 50 talent in the nation. And Funky Fudge is leading us. So thank you so much for the super chat to a question I was going to ask anyway. So for both of you, what's the line of delineation? Meaning, what do you expect? So what would exceed expectations where you'd be like, I feel really good about this season. They eclipsed my expectations. And then what would fall below? What is the line of demarcation, Jason?
So just to touch on what Logan said real quick, I agree with Logan on that point. On paper, Florida State should have no more than one loss going into that Clemson game, whether it's at Boise State, whether it's tripping up against NC State. There's no reason Florida State should not, on paper, be 3-1 going into the Clemson game. If Florida State's 4-0, Logan will do 100 push-ups. And
what happened?
If Florida State's 4-0 going into the Clemson game, I know you'll do 100 push-ups.
I'll do 100 right here.
Exactly, because
everybody.
That's where we're at right now at this point, where Florida State should. To the point where Florida State would have killed Boise State, NC State, West Virginia, and Stanford. And here we're saying if we're 3-1, we'll be happy at that point. So that's where I think, but that's where the question's going to be. Is there going to be a couple games we trip up? Will Florida State be 2-2? Will the bottom fall out and Florida State be 1-3 by that point? That's where those questions come in. How many wins in the season will make us happy? I predicted earlier 8-4, and I believe that 8 wins, to me, is the minimum Mike Norvell has to do for this to be considered a successful season. And I think that's because when Willie Taggart came in to Tallahassee after the 2017 season, we were all still hurting for the way Jimbo left, and we were like, Florida State's going to come back. We're going to challenge. Florida State didn't look bad against Clemson the year before. They'd beaten Florida. Miami beat us on a touchdown with 6 seconds to go. So it's not like we were getting blown out of games in the 2017 season. So there was a lot of, hey, can Florida State, can they make 10 wins? Can they get to a better bowl game? All this other stuff. And we basically crapped the bed. I feel like people are there's a decent amount of people who are tapering their expectations. I think 8 wins accounts for splitting the Miami and Florida games, losing to Clemson, and then gives you 2 losses there to teams you probably should beat, and in any other year you probably would beat, but you end up losing to. Like, I think we'll lose to Louisville. I think we'll lose to Boise State. So I think 8 wins is the mark. I think if Florida State is 7-5 and 6-6, it's a failure. If they have a losing season, God forbid, I think Mike Norvell should be fired right away. So I think 8 wins is the minimum. Yeah, you heard me.
Wait a minute. Willie Taggart should get a 3rd year, but Mike Norvell's going to get fired for doing what? Going 5-7?
Losing season, because he obviously disappointed people.
Didn't Willie Taggart go 5-7 his first year?
I saw Logan with a sign that said "Fire Willie" immediately after the Virginia Tech game. I believe I saw his drunk. But
I never said that. I never said that.
But I do believe that's.
I wanted to fire the defensive coordinator.
Yes, that was 100% of a fact. Harlan
I
Burnett.
would have fired the offensive coordinator. That wasn't Bryles the first year, was it?
No, that was Will Bell, who with the UMass head coaching job.
He scored 3 points.
I guess I shouldn't say. I wanted to fire a lot of people.
On Labor Day weekend, I thought Virginia Tech had the best defense in the country after watching that game, and then they ended up having like the 75th ranked defense in the country.
Well, it also, we can get there about Virginia Tech. They had a block punt that I believe was returned for a touchdown. We didn't score twice inside the red zone, so we gave them that game in that one. I will stand by that statement that we gave them
up 3 points.
We did. We should have scored 17, and they should have only scored 10.
You're right. It was a closer game. Sure.
It was.
Yeah.
But I do believe 8 wins is the mark Mike Norvell has to make. Anything less than that would be considered a disappointment.
Okay. Before Logan goes, I just went through the schedule, and based on my estimation, they are outclassed in 1 game. Clearly in 1 game. We know what game that is. They are significantly the better team in 6 games, in my opinion, and I believe the other 5 games are toss-ups. That's how I have it.
You think the Florida State game right now is a toss-up?
No, I'm sorry. You're right. We'll go, what is that, 5-5-2. My apologies. Yes, Florida is significantly better.
I was going to say, trust me, I hate the Gators, but they're going to.
Yes, my apologies. I messed up on that one. So we'll go 5-5-2. Like, I think they're better than Syracuse. They should beat Syracuse. They should beat Pitt. They should beat West Virginia. Samford, obviously, and what was the other team? NC State. Like, they're better in talent than Wake Forest, but I'll consider that somewhat of a toss-up game.
Mark, we should have beat Wake State last year. We should have beat Wake last year. The year before that, we should have beat Miami. We were up by 20 points against Miami. In the 2017 season, we should have beat NC State. I mean, it was 3 points against Clemson, and we were driving. I'm not saying we would have won, but we were in the game against Clemson in the 2017 season. So that's been the way we played, and that's why we've said the most important thing Florida State cannot do this season is they cannot Florida State. Losing games you have no business losing.
Wayne Tillman, thank you so much for the Super Chat contribution. James Blackman should have been weighing at least 200 pounds. It's the 4th year, for heaven's sake. What's going on with the weight and conditioning program?
Coach O, who was not a certified strength and conditioning instructor. That right there, that is changing real quick, and you're seeing what Coach Storms can do with him. He's doing it with Amari Gaynor, too. I can name 15 more guys, maybe 20, 25. Some guys that don't even need to be gaining weight that are losing weight. Marvin Wilson's lost another 5 pounds, which is probably even scarier. He was already the fastest defensive lineman whenever he came into FSU, and he was weighing 330 pounds, which was the scariest thing ever. Now he's down to 305. Scary things. It's going to show, too, what Coach Storms is doing for this team.
Follow my logic, guys, here, that when it comes to evaluating offensive and defensive coordinators and head coaches, they can't all be successful, obviously, because they're playing each other. So somebody's got to lose the games. It's not like, you're going to sell insurance. Are you a good insurance salesman? Yes, you went out and did your job, because nobody's challenging you. Nobody's working against you. It's competitive athletics. They can all be doing an outstanding job, but somebody's got to lose the games, and that's how we evaluate success. Do you win or do you lose? But when it comes to strength and conditioning coaches, a place like Florida State should always have a top-flight strength and conditioning program.
Mm-hmm.
You would hope so, but it's more the people running the program. But
okay.
Logan, let's get to your question. What is the number of wins you think that you would be happy with? And then also, if it's a different number, that you think, what is Mike Norvell's minimum to stay employed for another season?
I'm the same with you. 8-4, I think, would make fans really happy. Definitely the predicament that this staff is already going through with the whole pandemic going on. No spring. I talked to DeMarcus Walker. We had him on the podcast, and I brought it up to him, asking how big is spring to you guys? And he said it's a big deal because first, you're learning new schemes. You usually have sometimes a new staff, new guys, new assistant coaches in. You're learning, and he just showed that it was big for getting adjusted and getting back into shape with everything, getting ready for fall and your summer workouts. So Mike Norvell doesn't have a spring to really do that. He's had to let Coach Storms do his thing and have them work out and stuff from home. So 8-4, I think, should make FSU fans very happy and actually pretty excited about the future because you got still some young cats on the quarterback side coming in for the next season. Also, for Mike Norvell, the lowest he can go before getting fired, I think it'd have to be like a 4-8 or something like that. It'd have to be terrible. I just don't see anything. I don't like talking negative, so I don't think that's just not going to happen. But he'd have to lose more than friggin' 7 games in order for him to get fired the first year. That's just not going to happen, though. This is a big deal right here, though.
Hell,
this is the cat daddy.
Mike Williams. And Mike Williams has donated money. I think he gave us $20 a couple of weeks ago. He's always giving it. So, Mike, your icon sucks, but thank you for the money. We appreciate it.
Florida State fans, I don't want to make you feel bad, but if we had a counter that counted up the amount of money given from Florida State fans versus Miami fans, not total on all my live streams, just on the Florida State live streams, I don't think it would be very close.
Well, drugs are making good money down here now. You know, you can make good money for a brick or something. So yeah, I mean, people are.
Mike, we
Redbeard,
appreciate it so much. Mike, I cannot
Dude, Mike,
say thank you enough. Appreciate
Mhm.
that so much.
now that
Mark, Luke, and Jason, thumbs up.
now more importantly, we are in the overtime section here of our show, presented by the MLS is back tournament on ESPN starting tomorrow when Inter Miami takes on the Orlando, whatever the hell their team name is, at 8:00 on ESPN. So,
And
Mark,
go ahead, Jason.
Mark,
Yes.
tell us what your secrets were to getting the ladies.
Oh, let's bypass that. Let's go to that was so long ago. Maybe it was just a natural charm. I don't know. Anyway, so I will say that Jason gave you earlier, everyone, an insider look in terms of the conversation on the direct message between Logan, Jason, and James and myself, all of us. So another one would be that Jason suggested we run through best and worst case scenarios. I made fun of it because I said, well, best case scenario would be 12-0. Oh, worst case scenario would be 0-12. Anyway, I do understand that's a thing. And so next week, Jason, we will get to your best and worst case scenarios. How's that sound?
Hey, first of all, you want to be a smartass, you be a smartass all you want to. I get it. It's fine. That's who you are. You know, you didn't interrupt me in the group chat, so I do appreciate that one, though. But yes, next week, why Florida State will, in a best case scenario, go 11-1 because Clemson's still on schedule. So
wow. And Redbeard was asking in here because he donated big time too earlier. It's still on here, $25. But he said, does 8-4 help us with recruiting? Most certainly. And we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. James has been on here too, but we've been talking about, you know, the Florida recruiting, and maybe there's a problem there. You know, Jason's worried about it too. But I believe with winning and 8-4, that is going to attract a lot of Florida guys too. Winning does a lot. Just Florida State fans haven't had a lot of winning. It's understandable. It's been a sucky last couple of years, but an 8-4 season will turn things around. That's a pretty decent bowl too. Florida State or recruits will then notice, hey, FSU is actually playing in the postseason for an actual bowl has some kind of significance. Because I really wouldn't have given a damn about watching Florida State versus Arizona State. I'm sorry. In El Paso, I wouldn't have given a damn if I'm a recruit. I'm watching the big time games. I ain't watching that crap.
First of all, you did watch the crap. Second of all, they gave the media free Frosted Flakes, so it was the greatest bowl game ever. But first of all, I do have Florida State going 8-4, and I do have them going to the Duke's Mayo Bowl, which is the new name of what used to be the Belks Bowl in Charlotte. That's right. It's called the Duke's Mayo Bowl. I love some mayo. Mayo on a nice Italian sandwich, that's good right there. That's good. That's solid. But I will say this. 8 wins is what Florida State needs to do if they want to succeed, both in recruiting for 2021 and beyond. But it's who they beat. Florida State can win 8 games, and it's fine. But if Florida State gets swept again by Miami and Florida, it's where we are right now. One of those wins has to be over a state school. I think Miami's the easier one to beat right now, and all we know, Florida could lose guys could get injured, things could happen, who knows? But I think Florida State has to beat one of those two teams, either Miami or Florida. And I would say Miami would be the better one to get because of all the recruits we've got down here. There's a lot of guys we talked to who like Florida State, but they are afraid to go to a school that has been 7-6, you know, 7-6, 5-7, 6-7 the last 3 seasons. They're afraid of that right now. So there needs to be that shine right there. And if you go to Miami, according to my projections, that would put them at 6-3. If they beat there, you're bowl eligible beating Miami. You beat Miami in Miami's house. That's why it's a huge game. And
they only have about 150 people there too, so they'll already be social distancing. Don't worry about the Hard Rock being packed. They're already going to be social distancing, so I think you'll have a pretty full. They pretty much call it full house then, so it'll be full house.
Yeah, Miami was ahead of the curve on the social distancing. Years ago, they figured that out.
Yep. And sadly, though, their numbers and their rates are going up, but they did a good job during the football season.
It hurts me as a South Florida native that you guys are making fun of us down here, but you're right. Everything you said is it does hurt a little.
Someone said Someone asked, it was on here. I don't want to ignore it, but it was on the board Mark had on there. What's is 8-3 unrealistic? Why is 9-3 unrealistic from Clemson kid? And it's not. I mean, it's not really unrealistic. For me, it would be a loss to Florida. It would be a loss to Boise State, and it would be a loss to Clemson. It's either that or it would be it'd be 3 losses to Florida, Clemson, and Miami. I do right now, for some reason, some just tell me Florida State's going to beat Miami this upcoming season. I just think Mike Norvell he doesn't really need it to keep his job, but Florida State fans are really hungry for a rivalry win.
I'm sorry, I got to disagree with you. I think he does, and I think it goes back to the fact that Willie Taggart finished 0-5 against the 3 biggest rivals: Florida, Miami, and then the rival of Clemson. So I think he needs to at least beat one of them. Then that will get a lot of Florida State fans back on his side, back on the side of saying that the ship is starting to be righted. I do think 9-3 is possible, and we can talk about this next week with what I think is the best case scenario. I think 9-3 is extremely possible. It's going to be which of those games will Florida State not trip up? Will they not trip up against Boise State? Will they not trip up against a Louisville or an NC State? Which of these games that we are not giving Florida State credit for will they earn that credit for?
NC State went 1-7 in the ACC last year. They better not trip up against them.
Have you watched us play in Raleigh of late? I don't know, the last 2
There's a new head coach, though.
I don't care. Raleigh is a beautiful place. I'm sure it's lovely. I'm sure the people there are good. I hear the barbecue's okay. It's more of a.
I do not like going to NC State games. Those fans are trash. I think FSU fans who have ever been to that stadium too, when I was younger, they were mean. I mean, I was like 6 years old. My dad brought me there, and they were trash.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something. Here's the worst fans of the ACC that I've ever gone to, and I've been to every single ACC spot. Every team in the ACC except for Pitt is the only one I haven't been to. The worst fans, Virginia. Virginia fans were the only fans I heard literally using the N-word to attack our players. Like, just out. And I'm talking about the fans in the dress shirts and the ties and everything, just laying out. The white trash fans at Clemson, white trash fans at Wake Forest, NC State, all these other places weren't even using it. At least the ones who were close right behind the team where we were there. Virginia fans were the worst.
Disgusting.
Scott Stadium, this place.
Disgusting is right.
Yeah.
Florida State football talk with these two each and every week. It's always a good time. Always got something to talk about. Even when there's nothing there, we come up with something. And a couple 5-star recruits on campus.
We will make
get real one of those in.
We will make chicken
You
salad.
guys are going to turn me into a Florida State fan at some point. I'm rooting for you. All right. I watched all the games last year.
Wait. You need to come down to Tallahassee for a game this season. We will do a live show from
not this season. No. Not this season.
2021.
2021.
Florida State Notre Dame, I believe they opened the 2021 season on Labor Day.
Florida State Notre Dame?
Florida State Notre Dame, I believe.
At whatever the stadium's going to be called at that point.
At Coca-Cola Stadium or whatever.
Okay.
At that point, I will stand by one moment, I believe. I could be wrong. I haven't had anything.
We keep getting these super chats. It's going to be the Voice of College Football Stadium.
Yes, on Labor Day night, they play Notre Dame.
But who else is playing that weekend? You realize I got to cover everybody at the same time. So what I did last year, I think I've told you guys this. I went to the Florida-Miami game. It was a week 0 game by itself, and I went down to Orlando and covered the ball game.
If Po' Boys was still open, we could do it live from Po' Boys. God rest its soul.
Sponsorship people. Anybody out there got any connection to a reasonable sponsor for this show? Let me know.
We need money.
Jason Parker, NBC6, Logan Robinson, Noel Game Day. An amazing job that these two do for us each and every week for 60 shows now. Here at MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football. My rant on Dave Doran is coming up. I've got Ohio State breakdown, Alabama breakdown. I'm breaking down rosters across the board. we're going to get together at some point and break down each position for Florida State. I've done the same thing for probably 15 to 20 schools. So roster breakdowns to get everyone set for 2020. Plus my scheduling fix for college football. That video is going to be released here in the next few days. I'm fixing scheduling, and I'm going to fix the college football playoff as well.
He's changing the world for us.
Oh God, he's just dropping all the time.
Why we're here.
He's going to find a vaccine for coronavirus. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. He's going to do it all here.
And Jason Redbird says that Jason would ramble on about the paint on the wall for 3 hours if you let him. So there's a nice little Redbird hit you with a little shot at the end there before getting off.
Redbird's still living in 1978 with the Eastbound and Down logo of Burt Reynolds as his icon there. But
there's nothing wrong with Redbeard.
We all got hit tonight. I got hit by a guy saying that I keep on rambling. I need to put a blank in my mouth. So,
ooh, I know what that
Miami fan. Yeah. It was a nice little message earlier.
Oh, look at this. The Steve Thompson Show chiming in. Saw $50 on the super chat. Hope others will jump in to keep the voice of college football on the air.
Hey, Steve, why don't you give some money?
Oh,
not that we're mad, just disappointed, Steve.
He's playing the pitch man here. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, he's helping out. I'm trying to start the trend.
Okay.
Hey, guys, let's do this again next week.
Yeah, let's do it. What do you think? Tuesday night work for you guys?
Yeah.
Doesn't work too well for Jason. He can hardly ever make it.
Yeah, it's always tough.
He misses quite a few.
At 7, that's a little tough. Let me see.
You have to work hard for it.
All right, I'll figure it out. Thanks, Mark.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see everybody next week, 7 o'clock. Tuesday night. Be here and bring others along.
Bring your wallets.